In the world of high-end acoustic engineering, there is no such thing as soundproof. There is only acoustically isolated. You aren't just building walls, you are building a cage for sound waves, forcing them to die, so that the pure, unfiltered essence of music can be captured. A truly world-class studio, the kind where billion-dollar records are made, is a mathematical miracle. It's a series of floating rooms, decoupled mass layers, and precise air gaps designed to manipulate vibrations. I spent the last 4 years of my life engineering the absolute pinnacle of this technology for a private client, a $5 million acoustic sanctuary. I thought I was building a future for me and my wife. I didn't realize I was building the backdrop for my own demise. My name is Elias. I'm 38 years old, and I am a lead acoustic architect. My company specializes in the most difficult structural problems in the music and film industry. 5 years ago, I married Chloe. Chloe was a luxury interior designer who specialized in modern minimalist residential projects. She had an incredible eye for high-end aesthetics, but she didn't know the first thing about structural integrity or acoustic physics. She loved the glamour of the clients I worked with, the producers, the directors, the superstars, but she hated that I spent my days in construction sites covered in drywall dust and acoustic insulation. For the last 4 years, I worked on Project Silentium. It was a proprietary system of acoustic paneling that could eliminate 99.9% of external environmental noise, even in a city. It was the holy grail for recording artists. I promised Chloe that when Project Silentium was finished, we would take the payout, move to a coastal villa, and she could finally launch her own high-end interior design studio without ever having to worry about money again. I gave her my absolute trust, my proprietary schematics, and my heart. But Chloe didn't want to build a life with a wall fitter. She wanted to be the queen of the studio, and she found a king who was willing to help her steal it.
The shift happened when Chloe started managing the interior design for a string of new recording studios owned by a guy named Marcus. Marcus was a 42-year-old music mogul who owned a massive chain of commercial recording facilities across the country. He wore gold-rimmed glasses, had a massive ego, and treated every employee like they were easily replaceable cogs. In my industry, Marcus was known for one thing: aggressive acquisition. He didn't build, he bought, rebranded, and then cut corners to maximize revenue. Suddenly, Chloe was working on exclusive design concepts for Marcus's flagship studio. The red flags didn't just quietly appear, they signaled a catastrophic system failure. First, the disrespect. Chloe started openly mocking my work. "Elias, stop obsessing over the decibel ratings," she snapped one night, looking through her design samples. "Marcus says people don't care about true acoustics, they care about the vibe. The studio just needs to look expensive for the Instagram photos. You're building a library, I'm building a brand." Second, the intense secrecy. She started keeping her design laptop locked by a biometric thumbprint. When I asked why, she claimed she was protecting confidential client designs. Third, and by far the most alarming, was her obsession with my structural blueprints for Project Silentium. She was constantly asking me for the master CAD files. "Elias, the contractor for the new studio, needs the exact specifications for the wall panels. Just email me the file." When someone who doesn't understand engineering suddenly demands the exact CAD specifications for your proprietary multi-million-dollar technology, you don't send the file, you change the access codes.
In my profession, you always have a backup plan. I have a tiny, voice-activated recorder hidden in the base of our home printer. It only triggers when people are talking loudly in that specific room, and it syncs to my private server. One Saturday, while I was out inspecting a site, the recorder triggered. I sat in my office and listened to the recording. It was Chloe and Marcus standing right in my home office. Marcus was laughing. "So you have the master blueprints? Are you sure they're the real ones? I can't build a flagship studio based on a rough draft." Chloe replied, "It's all here, Marcus. I pulled the master CAD files from his server. I even got the schematics for the acoustic paneling layout. You can build this in all 10 of your studios. You'll save millions on development costs, and you'll have the best sounding rooms in the business." Marcus paused. "And what about Elias?" Chloe's voice was cold, flat, and completely devoid of emotion. "I'm serving him the divorce papers next month. By the time he realizes the blueprints are gone, we'll be open for business. He's just a carpenter with a degree. He won't have the money to fight your legal team. We'll be set for life." I sat in the dark, silent office, feeling the floorboards underneath me. My wife of 5 years was sleeping with a corporate parasite. Together, they were plotting to steal my life's work, rebrand my acoustic technology as their own, and leave me utterly destitute. They thought I was just a carpenter. They didn't understand that a master acoustic engineer doesn't just build rooms, he knows exactly how to make them scream.
If you want to destroy a thief, you don't tell them they're stealing a bomb. You tell them they're stealing a fortune. I didn't confront them. If I did, Marcus's corporate lawyers would bury me in injunctions, claim the blueprints were work for hire, and steal the tech anyway. I needed them to build it. I needed Marcus to spend millions of dollars constructing that studio. So, I went to work on the blueprints. The secret to my soundproofing technology was a specific, proprietary arrangement of high-density mineral wool and elastic channels. It relied on a precise, mathematical formula that neutralized ambient vibration. I took the blueprints they were going to steal, and I made one tiny, mathematically precise change to the structural density and the depth of the acoustic cavities. To the naked eye, the wall panels looked identical. They would fit together perfectly. But I had shifted the resonant frequency of the entire room. I engineered the room so that it would resonate perfectly at 19 Hz. 19 Hz is the threshold of infrasound, a frequency that the human ear cannot consciously hear, but which the human body and inner ear react to violently. At high volumes, the kind you find in a professional recording studio, this frequency causes disorientation, nausea, intense anxiety, and panic in anyone inside the room. I wasn't building a studio. I was building an anxiety-inducing vibration chamber. I left the blueprints on my desk. I left the house unlocked. I watched through my security feed as Chloe loaded the digital copies and the physical blueprints into her briefcase. I let them steal the masterpiece. Now, they just had to build it.
The day after they stole the files, I met with the most ruthless intellectual property attorney in the country. I handed him my original, time-stamped research logs, the physical prototypes I had been building in my private off-site storage unit, and the audio files of Chloe and Marcus conspiring to commit industrial espionage. My lawyer smiled like a shark. "Elias," he said, "Marcus is planning to use stolen, patented trade secrets to build a massive commercial venture. He isn't just stealing an idea, he is stealing a multi-million-dollar technology. If he builds that studio, he is liable for every single penny of the construction cost, plus massive punitive damages for willful theft." We filed a sealed emergency intellectual property claim. We didn't send a cease and desist. We didn't warn them. Instead, we let them spend $10 million constructing the studio. I watched them pour concrete, install my stolen acoustic panels, and spend thousands on high-end recording gear. They were building their own tomb, and I was holding the key.
Saturday night, the grand opening of the Zenith, Marcus's flagship studio. The room was packed with 50 elite music producers, A-list celebrities, and major record label executives. They were all there to hear the world's most perfect-sounding room. I sat in my dark office, sipping a glass of bourbon, watching the live stream. Marcus stepped up to the center console. He looked confident. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, his voice oozing with arrogance, "welcome to the future of sound. This room is mathematically flawless. Let's test it." He grabbed a master recording of a high-bass drum track and cranked the volume on the $250,000 monitors to 100%. The room filled with deep, pulsing bass. I looked at the clock on my wall. I knew the geometry. I knew the acoustics. The moment the bass kicked in, the resonant frequency of the room hit the 19 Hz threshold. It started slowly. The people in the room felt a vibration in their chest. Then their inner ears began to twitch. Within 30 seconds, the entire room started to resonate.
The acoustic panels began to hum with a low, agonizing vibration. A famous pop star in the front row suddenly stopped nodding her head. Her face went pale. She looked at her drink, then at her stomach, and doubled over. The producers started pulling their headphones off, looking around the room, completely disoriented. Then, the nausea hit. Incredible, violent waves of panic swept through the crowd. People were grabbing their ears, staggering, clutching their stomachs. A high-level executive literally threw up in a trash can in the corner. Marcus was frantically trying to adjust the mixing board, but the volume was locked by the automated system, which was currently in full resonance mode. "What is happening?" Marcus screamed at his sound engineer, totally unhinged, looking around the room in absolute horror. "The sound is making everyone sick." The elite guests were running for the doors, terrified, sobbing, and vomiting. I took a slow, deep sip of my bourbon, smiled at the chaotic livestream, and texted my lawyer, "Trigger the lawsuit."
You cannot recover from making 50 billionaires sick in a room you called mathematically flawless. The fallout was an absolute apocalyptic corporate massacre. The video of the launch party went viral globally within 10 minutes. #VomitRoom was trending worldwide. Marcus's reputation was instantly vaporized. The music industry bloggers exposed the studio for what it was, a dangerous, illegal structure built with stolen, poorly engineered technology. Because Marcus had solicited investment money based on the claim that the studio was acoustically perfect, the investors sued him for catastrophic breach of contract and fraud. The construction firm he hired was hit with massive lawsuits for building a room that violated basic safety standards. His entire $10 million studio empire completely collapsed in weeks. He was utterly, permanently bankrupted. Chloe's life was vaporized. Marcus, realizing he was facing federal indictments and total bankruptcy, immediately blamed her. He told investigators that she was a rogue agent who had provided him with the fraudulent blueprints. He threw her to the wolves to save himself. She called me from a hotel in the city, sobbing so hard she was hyperventilating. Elias, please. The investors are suing me. Marcus dumped me. The studio is a disaster. You have to tell them you made a mistake with the blueprints. Please, I'll do anything." "I didn't make a mistake, Chloe," I said calmly, leaning back against my workbench. "I built exactly what you asked for. You just didn't pay attention to the math. I read your messages, by the way. Good luck in the real world." I hung up and blocked her number. During our divorce settlement, she had absolutely zero leverage. Because she was facing criminal charges for corporate espionage against me, the judge awarded me 100% of the assets and denied her any alimony. She walked away with millions in legal debt and a permanently ruined reputation.
It's been almost 3 years since that launch party. After the dust settled, I legally repatented the real, functioning Silentium technology under my own LLC. I licensed it to a major label, and the payout was astronomical. I opened a state-of-the-art studio that truly is flawless, and I work with musicians who respect the science. Last I heard, Chloe is working as a receptionist at a mid-tier real estate firm, far away from the music industry. She spends her days filing paperwork, knowing she threw away a masterpiece for a cheap illusion. Marcus is completely bankrupt, buried in endless litigation, and permanently banned from the music industry. If there is a lesson to learn here, it's this: true resonance cannot be faked, and true loyalty cannot be bought. If your partner tries to use your genius to build their own empire while trying to lock you out, don't panic. Don't fight them for the studio. Let them build the room. Just make sure you tune it to the frequency of their own destruction. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's the worst DIY mistake you've ever seen? Stay sharp, trust the math, and always keep your blueprints secret.